Hey, it is 12 noon on Wednesday, which means it's time for this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to help you understand the more technical side of the real estate industry. And we've been hearing from a lot of our students signing up that they're looking to change their life in 2018, to change their career, to really make some big changes, and that's why they're signing up for classes with us so they could go get their real estate license and start this new career. So for any of you guys that are wondering, because we get this question pretty often, well, what does it take overall? It's probably our number one question. What do I have to do to get a real estate license? But today we're going to expand on that further, not just what you need to get the real estate license, but also what you need to practice real estate in Florida and actually get to closing some deals. So I want to kind of walk you guys through it start to finish so you could go where you're from today, not knowing anything about real estate, not having a real estate license, not even knowing where to start, to actually closing deals. So that's what we're talking about today. Great episode for you. Really excited to share it with you. I'm John Chrismo. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate, and you're watching Ask the Instructor.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. What we're doing today is uncovering the steps to go from not having any sort of real estate license to getting the real estate license to joining with a broker to out there actually selling real estate. And now this whole process is really well put together for at least the licensing steps at this website. You're going to want to write this website down if you don't have it already. It's licencefl.com. licencefl.com, like License Florida, licencefl.com. So on that website, you'll find our step-by-step guide as well as links to everything it is that we're going to be talking about today to go from not knowing anything about real estate to getting your license to actually closing deals. That's the goal today. We're not going to get as in-depth about every particular step, and we do have an hour, so we'll get pretty nitty-gritty with it there so you get a good understanding of some of these costs and expenses so you kind of know what investment it is you're going to have for starting this business, because that's essentially what it is that you're doing with a real estate career. And let's talk about that first and foremost. So when you get your real estate license, that's your ticket to being able to sell real estate, for proving that you're minimally competent. That's the wording that the Florida Real Estate Commission uses for you, is minimally competent to practice real estate in Florida. So that's really your first step in really series of steps to get your real estate license. The first step, and this is the first thing that we always recommend, number one, the PreLicensing course. And this pre-license course, you can either do it in a classroom. We have several classrooms throughout the Tampa Bay area. Or online. We also have an online course that's completely on demand and self-paced. Now, to really kind of put some numbers on the timing that it takes to kind of go through this, it's a 63-hour course. Online course is estimated to take 63 hours to go through it, but it is at your own pace. The only part that's timed is the end of course exam, which we'll talk about that. But let's say if you're doing one of our day classes, you can get that done in as little as 7 days. So 7 days. We're actually offering a 7-day course now, Monday through Sunday. You go there. It is an intense course. It's our most intense we have. 7 days, you can get your real estate license. 1 week, get it all under your belt. You'll be prepared to take your license exams. You'll learn all the information it is that you need to within those 7 days. We also have 8-day classes. We have 21-day classes. We have an evening class that's 15 days. We have a lot of different programs that basically will teach you all the same information, but with different scheduling to be able to fit your schedule. So definitely check out licencefl.com. You'll be able to find the links for our classroom and online course. We actually got a great demo for our online course as well. We just unveiled a new online course last October. We've been running it for a little over a year now, and we've had phenomenal results with it, not only in people passing, but actually people getting to the point where they could actually actually even take the exam, which is a big problem you see with a lot of online courses out there. They're just too boring to move on. Now, don't get me wrong with the information that is covered in the pre-licensing course. There's a lot of laws that are covered in this. About 40% of the course is real estate laws. This course is required by the Florida Real Estate Commission because they want you to know how to practice real estate legally in Florida. What are the things you can and cannot do with a Florida real estate license? So that's a big part of this, but you learn about a lot of things. You learn about the home mortgage process, the financing process. You get an overview of all of that, and you get to kind of learn how the money is created in the United States, which that's definitely a fun little chapter. There's actually 2 chapters on that. You learn about appraising property, so you'd actually come up with property values and all that stuff. You learn about property taxes. You learn about contracts, about different types of deeds, about how a brokerage operates. There's a lot of stuff that's covered in this course. It's a great overview of really just the tip of the iceberg of so much information that you'll begin to learn more about once you have your real estate license. But it's a great starting point, and it's what's required by the Florida Real Estate Commission. Now, once you're enrolled in the course, that moves on to our second and third step. And really, we'll just call this step number 2. Fingerprinting and your application. Really, it doesn't make sense to not do one without the other here, because in order for your application to be approved, you do have to file your fingerprints electronically with them, and no sense in doing your fingerprints if you're not going to do your application. So we'll kind of group that together as one step. Overall, these are both fairly easy to do. The fingerprinting, there's a lot of different places available that do electronic fingerprinting. It's all digital, none of the ink cards or anything like that, unless you're from out of state. That's where you have to maybe do an ink card. We've got a link at licensefl.com where you could go and schedule the fingerprinting at one of these places. And if you're taking one of our classroom courses, we actually bring in a fingerprinting vendor into the classes to be able to get your fingerprints done. And that's going to run you about anywhere from $50 to $60. And if we're going to put prices up here with this, our classroom course is $297, or our online course is $249. And you don't have to do both of those, one or the other, and that'll meet that requirement there. Now, for your application, currently I believe it's about $83 for that, and your application is actually pretty easy as well. The application, it's really just very basic information: your name, your social security number, a lot of yes or no questions. Are you a U.S. citizen? Doesn't disqualify you, but you do put that on there. You don't have to be a U.S. citizen to get a Florida real estate license. Do you have a social security number, and what is that social security number? You do need to have a social security number. You don't have to be a Florida resident. You don't have to be a U.S. citizen, but you do have to have a social security number. And you could actually apply for a social security number without being a citizen or resident. We've actually got that link as well at licensefl.com. It's really a great one-stop shop to find out everything it is that you need to go through to do the process. Now, with the application, if you have any sort of criminal background or anything like that, they do require you to disclose that on your application. They do a background check on you, not just an FBI background check, but also an FDLE background check. So they're going to find the information. And I actually heard a story one time of somebody just recently. They told me that they found somebody else's information. So something happened here. I've got to follow up with them and see if he got that sorted out yet. But they're going to find the information on you. And if they find information that you don't disclose on your application about any sort of criminal background, that's where they're going to immediately disqualify you. Now, they're not disqualifying you forever. You don't get the kiss of death if you forgot to put something on there and they find something. It's just you have to go and redo your application again. And you're probably going to have to pay that $83 again. So the only things you don't have to put on the application, and this is explained in detail on the application as you're filling it out. If you just read the instructions for it, pretty short and to the point, but it'll tell you what you do and do not have to put on there. Basically, if there's been anything that's been expunged or your record's been sealed, that's not required to be put on there because no one could really find out what those items were, so those won't show in your background check. So you're not required to put that on your application. If it's a minor traffic citation as well, so if you ran a red light or were speeding not too fast, that would also be a minor citation, which you would not have to put on your application. So neither of those would have to go on there. But any sort of criminal background, even if it was 20, 25 years ago, misdemeanors, felonies, you'd all have to put that on there. And look, it doesn't immediately disqualify you because you have a criminal background. There's no written black and white rules that say if you do this, you don't get a real estate license, but if you only did this, then you will get a real estate license. They don't have any rules specifically for this. This is based on the Florida Real Estate Commission's professional judgment. And what happens if you have a criminal background that does raise an eyebrow to the Florida Real Estate Commission is they'll call you to one of their monthly meetings in Orlando. So they'll call you to one of their monthly meetings, and you'll basically be there to explain why they should give you a real estate license. And if you're competent, if you're professional looking, professional sounding, and you have an explanation of why you did what you did and why you won't do that again, they will probably grant you your application. If they are very lenient on approving you based on, unless you have something that's very recent and you're not like on the run from the jail or anything like that, you're probably going to be able to get a real estate license. Now, because this step doesn't have to necessarily go second, you could actually do this first. You could do your fingerprinting and application before you take the licensing course if you are concerned about your application being approved. Like I said, it probably will be approved. You might have to jump through a couple extra hoops in order to get that approved. A lot of times you'll have to get records if it's out of state for whatever the criminal history was or anything like that, and that would all have to be disclosed on there. It's got great instructions on the application, and there's also a phone number at the bottom of the page for the DBPR so they could give you further information on filing this application as well. But that's really your second step, is getting your fingerprinting and your application done. You can do this before taking the course, or if you don't have any criminal background, you're not worried about it, you don't have to do this first. We recommend doing the pre-licensing course first because we do talk about the application. We walk you through it. Like I said, if you're doing it in person, in the classroom, we actually do have a fingerprinting company that does come in to do those fingerprints for you. So that's your second step. Now your third step is you have, we'll split these up into two separate steps. So you have your end of course exam. And this end of course exam is just like the state exam. It's 100 questions. It's ABCD multiple choice. And you need a 70% to pass. So for the end of course exam, 100 questions, 4-prong ABCD multiple choice, and you need to get a 70%. Now, you see 70% and you're like, okay, yeah, just like in college, C's get degrees, right? Well, the trick with the end of course exam as well as with the state exam is the test is designed to test if you know the information from the course. Really, your level of intelligence, it'll help, but that's not what they're testing. It's not what they're testing. What they're testing you on is the material covered in the pre-licensing course. And the way the test is designed, it's designed for the wrong answers to sound more correct for somebody who did not take the course, for somebody who does not know the information that's in the course. If you walked in to take this exam not knowing any of the stuff that's taught in the pre-licensing course, even if you've been in real estate before, and this is where it's typically the trickiest, if you've got any sort of real-world experience, that usually confuses the laws and the theory side of things. But that 70%, yes, you do have a big margin of error. You can miss 30 questions on the exam, but again, every single one of these questions is designed to test you on that material from the course. So, first and foremost, you are required to take the course. No big deal. And let's talk a little bit about the state exam as well, because once you pass this, you'll get a completion certificate from us, and that completion certificate says, I passed the pre-licensing course. Doesn't say your score on it or anything like that, just says that you passed, the date it is that you passed, and then within 2 years of that date, you have to take your state exam. And the state exam is overall structured in pretty much the same way. You've got 100 questions, A, B, C, D, multiple choice, but the difference is with the state exam, they require a 75%. So they've raised the bar a little bit for the state exam. They want you to score at least a 75% in order to get your real estate license. And once you pass your state exam with at least a 75%, you will have a real estate license. You'll be able to go activate your license and practice real estate. Now, again, big margins of error, 30 questions you could miss, 25 questions you could miss, but these questions, you don't want to just say, oh, I could just miss 30 or I could just miss 25 and just go in there and think you're going to do all right. The state exam actually only has a 50% pass rate on average, which half the people that take it don't pass, basically what that is. And sometimes it's 51% of the people that take it don't pass. So it is a tough exam, but the reason why it's tough is because it's testing you on the material from the pre-licensing course, not on how smart you are, not how good of a test taker you are, not on how wise you are, anything like that. The test is designed. Again, if you don't know this information, the wrong answers will sound more appealing. And not just if you don't know the information, but if you're not 100% confident in your knowledge of this information. Because it will make you second guess yourself. When they have these answer choices that to a lay person, a common person who does not study this material, when it would sound more correct for answer D, let's say, for the common person, because that's the answer that seems common sense tells you answer D would be correct, but the material from the course tells you it's answer C. Answer C is your answer, because everything is based off the material taught in the pre-licensing course, which is why it's so important to make sure you're taking a good course. There's a lot of discount courses out there. I mean, I think you could do an online course for, I've heard as cheap as like $50 for some of these, and I'm like, I just wonder what it is that they're teaching them for that price. Our courses are not the most expensive, but they are a little bit more expensive than some of these bargain courses out there. But we've spent a lot of money in our courses, in getting our courses to be the best courses it is. We've done a lot of research in all of these. There's a lot of science behind this. It's designed to be interactive for our online courses, our classroom courses. We hold our instructors to a very high standard for holding the courses. And if you look us up online, you'll see thousands of 5-star reviews of people that have taken our courses online or in the classroom and been able to pass the exams on the first try. And we even have a whole strategy laid out to help you study and help you prepare to pass your real estate exams on the first try. And that's all available at passfirsttry.com. So passfirsttry.com, you'll be able to find our recommended strategy to pass your class and state exams on the first try. And the reason why we created this and laid this out is because we like to make things simple. And we got together and we said, why do we have to just kind of throw people to the wolves and say, oh yeah, just study? Well, how do you study? What do you do to study? What is the right kind of studying? Because there's a method, and that's what the method is that we've designed with the Pass First Try strategy to make sure it really is broken down into 4 steps. Number 1, learn the information. You're required to do that, so pretty much everyone learns the information. Number 2, reinforce the information as you go to make sure you're not forgetting what's covered in Chapter 1 when you're on Chapter 7. So reinforcing along the way to make sure that you're not forgetting this material. Third step, testing your knowledge. Because the exam is 90% application based. 90% of both the class and state exam isn't just going to be, oh, which one of the following of these is the definition of demand. No, there might be 10% of the exam being, oh, what's the definition of this, or what does it mean for this, or something very basic. But the other 90% of it, the large part of the exam, is not just asking you to regurgitate what you memorized, but also to take what you've memorized and now apply it in the context of some sort of scenario. And that's what's great about our question simulator, or really testing your knowledge. Any type of questions, as long as they're well-written questions. There's questions in your textbook, in your online course, and we have a whole online question simulator that you could use to go and practice with exam questions. And what that does is it allows you to see them being asked in context of a question, how it's application based, and then it also tests your knowledge to see if you know the stuff or if you need to go back to the drawing board. If you're getting a 50 or 60 or even a 70% on these practice exams, that tells you need to go back to step 1, maybe relearning some of the information, reinforcing the information a little bit better, and then come back and test your knowledge again. And then finally, our 4th step is being confident and prepared. knowing what to expect when you go in to take the exam, being confident that you do know the information, because again, the exams are designed to make you second guess yourself if you are not 100% confident in that information. So that whole strategy is available at passfirsttry.com. It's our recommended strategy, and we've got exam prep tools for every one of those steps on that page there. So you can make your own exam prep tools. Flashcards are good to kind of make those up and things like that. But if you want to kind of the fast track for success, we've got a lot of great tools there. If you follow that strategy, you're going to have the best chance possible of passing those exams on your first try. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but we're not done. Because yes, you will have your real estate license when you pass your state exam, but now what do you do with that license? What are these next steps that now lead into you actually making money in real estate? And that's what I'm going to be covering after this quick commercial break, so stick with us. I'm John Cursimo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com. Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Cursimo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Cursimo, and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. And what we do every Wednesday is come to you live. This is a live stream right now. I give a shout out to Zach Smith, considering starting a career in real estate. Give us a call, and we'll answer any questions it is that you have. You'll see our phone number, whether that's for you, Zach, or anyone else that's watching, and you've got other questions, because as well as it is that we present this, and if you're too shy to put the questions in the live chat here, you could always give us a call. We actually got another question just came in from Gianna Lowry. Forgive me if I mispronounced that. So Gianna Lowry, do you recommend going through Florida Principles, Practices, and Law along with the online course? It's not going to hurt. Our online course, it's designed to be interactive, and as you go through the material, it will help you really make sure that you know the information before you're able to move on to the next units. And we broke it down into small units, and it actually works pretty well on a phone, where you could just kind of pull it out and go through a couple units fairly quickly whenever you have 5 or 10 minutes at hand. You don't have to sit aside hours at a time to go through this. Now, going back to your question of Florida Real Estate Principles, Practices, and Law, that is the textbook that we currently use in our classroom courses, and it's a very well-written textbook, and that's not going to hurt you. It's teaching off of the same topics, and it comes from a different perspective, because that's from a different publisher from that textbook, but it does cover the same material. So that's helpful. And going back to our pass first try strategy, you want to do something to reinforce your knowledge and reinforce the information is that you've learned as you go along. And if you're somebody who does like to read or maybe likes to highlight, and that will help you retain the information, that's a great thing to do to reinforce the information. Still go through the online course. I mean, you have to go through the online course because it won't let you progress until you've gone through that stuff. But that's going to be good to go back and review chapters 1 and 2, especially if you're more of a physical paper book type of person as opposed to doing it on your phone, because you won't lose access to the previous units in there. But that's really good to help you reinforce this. What we typically recommend to help you reinforce is our MP3 audio review, which follows along. There's a specific FREC syllabus, so the textbook as well as our online course follow a specific pattern and a specific set of chapters that they follow through. And our MP3 audio review kind of highlights the main key points, and that's nice because then it's the most hands-off way really to study, because you can just pop it in your car, or maybe you're working out of the gym, you put it in your headphones and listen to it. It's not the most exciting thing to listen to. I know it kind of sucks not to always listen to music, but it will help you remember the information. So that's another way you could do it. You could also make flashcards as well, and those they're time consuming to make those up, but they can be helpful as well. So you're almost done with the online course. And Gianna, if I could ask you too, another thing, how long it is that you've been going through the course, because if you go through the online course fairly quickly, that's good because it keeps you from forgetting a lot of the information early on. You still want to reinforce along the way, but as you're progressing through the information, if you're spreading that out over a long period of time, it makes it a lot more likely for you to forget the stuff at the beginning of the course, which is still very important for your class and state exam. So if you've been taking more than, I would say, a month going through this course, really more than 2 weeks going through the course, being almost done with it. If you've gone through it in 2 weeks, you've got everything pretty quickly. You don't really have much time for reinforcing. Starting in August, so anytime more than a couple weeks or a month, that's where I would make a little effort. Make sure you go back to those first couple chapters, whether you're doing that right through the course or you're doing it through the textbook. That's a great way to do it as well. Again, if you want something paper, it's not going to hurt you using the textbook for principles, practices in law, but go through those first few units and make sure you still got that down, so that way when you go to the exam, it's not 3, 4, 5 month old information. When you're going to the exam, it's still fresh in your head. And if you're coming at this brand new, to make sure that you're not having to kind of cram all towards the end of this, is making sure that you're constantly reinforcing as you're going along. You get into chapter 3, you're going back to chapter 1. Chapter 4, reviewing chapter 2. Chapter 5, do 1, 2, and 3 all over again, just to make sure you're constantly remembering that stuff from the first 2 chapters, because it's all about real estate, but there's just so much information about real estate, and it covers such a variety of topics. It does make it easy to forget. And what's also nice about our online course too is it's got a bunch of PDFs. You could either download them and just save them to your phone or to your computer, or you could print them out if you so choose. Those are really good for studying as well. Those are in there. We include those in the course because they're helpful little, almost like cheat sheets to go through and just review like one kind of main sheet. It's not the most detailed compared to other aspects like the textbook or like the actual course, but it's got the main key points that you should review on there to make sure you've got those down. So those are also helpful as well. And then just to recap this one more time, define all the steps you need to get your real estate license. And that's another thing I would recommend for you, Gianna, to make sure, if you haven't done already, get your fingerprints and your application done. The fingerprinting and application process, sometimes it's as quick as just a couple of days for them to give you an approval, but it could actually take up to 90 days, especially if you have some sort of criminal background. That's where it might be up to 90 days, up to 3 months it might take for this to get approved. Typically, it's less than a week to get the approval for this, maybe a little bit longer depending on the time of year, but budget for probably about a week in average circumstances. Or again, if you have a criminal background, know that it's going to take a little bit longer. And time is your worst enemy with this information. You want to put as little time as possible between the course and the exams to make sure you don't forget this information. And when there is time in between, that you're reviewing, testing your knowledge, and making sure that you're confident and prepared for the exam. But you don't want to be sitting around waiting for your application to be approved. So make sure you get your application in. You can do the links for all of that are at licensefl.com. And then also make sure you've got your exam scheduled as well, because the exam, that's usually a longer waiting period. They do offer the exam almost every single day, but the trick is getting an appointment. They don't just do the examinations for Florida real estate licenses, but also broker licenses, as well as certificates that you need to be some sort of engineer or an intern, or for teachers, and construction and insurance and mortgages, and all these different exams that are done with computer-based testing are typically done at the provider, the state exam provider of this, of Pearson VUE, and it's typically about a 2-week waiting period, sometimes even longer, to get an appointment to take the exam. And once you have your approval, and only after your application's been approved, you could schedule your exam. You don't have to have finished the course in order to schedule your state exam, so you could actually go and schedule your exam before you finish the course. You just need to make sure that your course is completed and you've passed and you've got your completion certificate from us before you go to take your state exam. So you can maybe schedule that for the next day, or after 2 days, or after 3 days, but try to keep it close to when you finish your course. And when you're coming up on that end of course exam, if you're taking your exam outside of normal business hours, like if you're taking it at 1 in the morning, it's possible with our online course, but we're not always up at 1 in the morning, so give us a call ahead of time so we know to watch for your completion if we need to make sure we rush you over your completion certificate to your email for your exam. So feel free to give us a call with any questions it is that you have. You've got our phone number at the bottom. It's in our online course. It's on our website. We're here to help you guys out, to help you get your real estate license. We do want to see you be successful in real estate because that makes us look good. If we've helped you start a new life and a new career, you'll remember where that all started from. So we do want to help you. We do want to see you succeed. Our interests are aligned together. Your success is ultimately our success as well. So that's the licensing process overall. Remember, License FL, that's where you could go to find all of these links to get your application. We've got a whole little video there that's a lot shorter than this episode, and it breaks it down to just the key things you have to do. But now let's say that you've passed your exam. And now once you pass your exam, you now have your real estate license, your Florida real estate license, and you could actually go practice real estate once your license is active. But you do have to activate your license. So let's now have another series of steps, if I don't throw my eraser across the room. Another series of steps. Gotta be like a drummer, get multiple erasers, so I'll go toss one because I'm just too into it here that I've got another one for the backup. Anyways, so you've passed your state exam, you now have a real estate license. And once you have your real estate license, you can't just go out and start practicing real estate right away yet. When you first get your real estate license, you're initially inactive. So as soon as you pass your exam, you will have a real estate license. Might take up to 24 hours for that to be generated by the DBPR, but as soon as you pass, you've got a license. There's no other waiting, no other approval that has to go on. That's all done ahead of time. You pass your exam, you've now gotten your real estate license, and it's usually the same day as that you pass that they issue your license. It's almost instantaneous. At the most 24 hours it takes them to get that set up for you, but your license is initially inactive. And what that means when your license is inactive, not active, that you cannot actively practice real estate. So inactive means that as far as for making money, it's the same as not having any real estate license. And you might say, John, well, wait a minute, I thought I went through all this so I could get my license, I could go make money, I could go be a millionaire in real estate. Yes, we're getting there, but there's some more steps along the way. So number one, you get your license. You've got that all done. It's a huge milestone. That's a very difficult process. And now once you do have your license, you need to go find a broker to activate your real estate license with. So the state of Florida, the Florida Real Estate Commission does not allow you as a sales associate. That's what you'll be when you first get your real estate license. You're a sales associate. They do not allow sales associates to practice real estate independently. You can't just go out with your inactive real estate license and go start earning commissions and earning money in real estate. The reason why, even though you've demonstrated that you're minimally competent, that's the wording that they use, that once you've passed your exam, that you're minimally competent, they don't trust somebody that's minimally competent to go through the real estate transactions. And for good reasons. I can think back to my first couple transactions and all the mistakes I made and how I thought it was going to be the end of the world, but it wasn't. And who I had to go to whenever I had questions for things it is that I didn't know was my broker. And when you start, you're required to register your license with a real estate broker. Now, in order to become a broker, you have to have at least 2 years experience, and then you're eligible to become a broker. But then on top of that, you have to go take a broker licensing course, pass an even more difficult broker licensing exam, and then also do broker post licensing. So it's a much higher level of knowledge that a broker has, as well as experience that a broker will have as well. So this broker would basically, to some degree, essentially be your mentor, would be somebody who's going to help you be successful in real estate, that's going to hold your hand through these first few transactions. And that's in theory what they're designed to do. Now, not all brokers are designed to be the hand-holding type of broker. There's a lot of them out there that specialize in new agents. Now, we get the question of this question a lot. Oh, John, do you think that there's going to be a broker that'll hire me? There's going to be brokers lined up to hire you. There's going to be brokers lined up that want you to come work for them. Because the way brokers make money is by you working in real estate. So a real estate sales associate The actual sales process of real estate, you're making money off of selling homes. The broker, they're in business as well. You're in business to make money, they're in business to make money. And there's two ways the brokers could go about making money. They could be out there competing with you, selling homes themselves, but that's not usually a good fit for new agents, not necessarily because of the competition, because there's so many homes out there to be sold and commercial properties and all these properties to be sold. You usually don't have to worry about competition from anyone. But what you do have to worry about is your broker going to be available when you need help? When you're unsure about going through your first couple of transactions, if this is a competing broker, then who do you go to? Who do you turn to when you don't know what to do in a transaction, when this deal is about to fall apart and you've got a $10,000 commission check on the line, and if you don't get this figured out, you're going to lose out on this deal and you lose out on the commission money, and your buyer or seller are going to be unhappy with you, and you're going to be unhappy with yourself, and you're going to be unhappy with your broker. So I don't recommend, especially for a new agent, a competing broker. Really anytime the competing broker. Your broker is supposed to be there for when you need help. And there's varying degrees of brokers. There's some brokers that will only take experienced agents because they don't want to be the person hand-holding them, or they're not equipped and they don't have the systems and the infrastructure to hand-hold you through the process. So there's a lot of brokers out there that are more designed just for experienced agents. And those are typically brokers that operate on a 100% commission split, where you get to keep all of your commission money and you just pay them a flat rate fee for them being your broker. You usually don't get much out of those types of brokerage situations, but you do meet the requirement of having a place to register your license with. You pay a fee, and it's just a regular monthly fee, and you go out, sell as much as you want, and you just got your monthly fee, and that's it. Now that seems enticing because you get to keep all the money, but there's a benefit to sharing your commission money. And that benefit is, well, that helps you avoid some of these higher priced fees and whatnot. But the big benefit is not just about the money, it's about what it is that you're getting in exchange for that percentage of your commission. A good split percentage broker is going to provide you with great infrastructure, great training, great mentoring, and all the tools it is that you need to be successful in real estate. But that does cost money. That does cost a percentage of your commission, and in a lot of cases, not just a percentage of your commission, but maybe some sort of annual fee or even a monthly fee on top of that as well. So what it comes down to, because again, you'll have brokers lined up to hire you, to get you to come work for them. What you want to do, and we've got some great resources in our online course. There's a bunch of PDFs in there. We actually have a video-based course that we're finishing the last couple of tweaks on it that walks through a bunch of the things it is to look for when you're choosing a broker, the questions it is that you ask, because the best thing to do, and this is what we recommend, and we've got a bunch of stuff on our Success Center as well that walks you through this, is you want to ask the broker questions. It's not like a typical interview. An interview for a normal job, they're asking you questions and trying to determine if they want to hire you. Now, this broker, they've already contacted you because they want to hire you, and they're going to do everything they can to convince you to register your license with them. But now it's your job as the sales associate to ask that broker questions, to ask them, okay, what kind of training do you have available? When do you do the training? How is that training offered? What will that training teach me? Will I learn everything it is that I need to know? Do you provide me business cards? Do you provide me for sale signs? Do you provide me a lockbox? Do you provide me all these different things it is that you'll need? And again, there's a whole PDF in our online course that's got a breakdown of a bunch of different questions like that to ask. But you ask these different questions and you interview. I recommend interviewing at least 2 brokers, at least 2, so you can kind of start to see some differences, and you'll probably interview maybe 3, 4, maybe even 5 different brokers, trying to find one it is that is going to be a good fit for you. And to help you understand who's going to be the best fit for you is to really kind of flesh out and get an understanding of what you're trying to do and how that broker could help you. You don't want to be part of the broker's plan to make money. You want to make your broker part of your plan to make money. And when they make money, it's okay because they're helping you achieve your income goals. So that's really, so first, your inactive status. To become active, you find a broker, or also an owner-developer. So let's talk quickly about the owner-developer. Now, this is another route you could go down. It's not the route that most agents go down because there are some cons to registering with an owner-developer as opposed to a broker, but there's also a few pros as well. So with a broker, the word broker means bringing together buyers and sellers, that you're bringing together buyers and sellers in a transaction. So you're able to work with basically anyone when you're registered with a broker. Now, when you're registered with an owner-developer, as opposed to a broker. An owner-developer are typically the home builders, so like Lennar Homes or William Ryan Homes or Cal Atlantic Homes, all these home builders, and there could be other types of owner-developers, but the most popular that you see that are actively hiring agents are the home builders. And these home builders need a sales staff to be able to sell these new homes. And you could actually go work for one of these builders without having a real estate license, but you're only allowed to get an hourly wage. They can't pay you any bonuses, they can't pay you any sort of commissions or anything that's attached to the number of sales it is that you have. But if you do get your real estate license, now on top of your hourly wage or your salary or whatever it is that they're paying you, on top of that, they could also pay you a commission based on how much it is that you sell. They could pay you a percentage of the sale price of a property. So what's nice about the owner-developer, because there's a couple pros to this, is it does have a little bit more stability than working under a broker. Now, working under a broker, it's a little bit more like running your own business, whereas working under an owner-developer is a little bit more like a job. There's a little bit more risk on the broker side, a little bit more stability on the owner-developer side, but the broker side definitely really has no ceiling on how much money it is that you can make, whereas the owner-developer side, you are limited. It's a great place to start out, especially if you're looking for something consistent, you're looking for some good training, because they usually do have good training programs with the owner-developers, so if you're looking for good training. And also what's nice about it is they typically don't rely on you to go out and find business. They're bringing the business to you, and now it's just your job to be a salesperson, similar to a salesperson in a car dealership where the business is already coming to you, and now it's your job to convert that business into a deal. So that's what you're doing with an owner-developer, but the key thing is, since you're registered with the owner-developer and they're not a broker, they can't bring together independent buyers and sellers. So if you've got a friend that says, oh, hey, you got your real estate license, can you help me sell my home? With a broker, you'd say, sure, what an easy lead that I've got here. You obviously like me already. It's easy business. I could definitely help you out. I'll give you great service because I know you personally. Owner-developer, on the other hand, oh, sorry, I work for Lennar Homes and I'm only allowed to sell for Lennar Homes. It's not always a bad thing, but that's one of the ways that it can be a bad thing. The owner-developers are typically not brokers. There's a few owner-developers out there that I've seen before that actually are brokers as well, which in that case, now you're playing by broker rules and you could work with anyone, but as the owner-developer, you're just there to facilitate the sale and the purchase between the customer and the owner-developer it is that you work for. So again, a little bit more stability with that. The commission rates are typically lower than what commission rates you'd get paid working under a broker, even factoring in the split, but you do have that stability there. We actually had a student that came to us probably about 2 years ago now. He was coming from the car industry, and he went and got his real estate license through us. He took the course, went and passed the exam on the first try, went out, found a developer to work for, and he made over $100,000 in his first year working on the developer. But shortly after that, he left that owner-developer because he's like, all right, yeah, I hit the $100,000. There's really not much higher it is I could go. That's great income, but there's a lot more money to be made. So he went and changed gears and says, okay, I want to go work under a broker now because there's a lot more money to be made out there. So a lot of people just jump right into working for a broker because it does give you more flexibility. It does have higher risk as opposed to the more job-like scenario of working under an owner-developer, but any business it is that you're starting is going to have more risk than having any sort of jobs. And that's really what it is that you're doing. Even though you're a business within a business, it's very much on you. You're really not going to find brokers that require you to work a certain time, a certain day, or anything like that. You're an independent contractor, and the work it is that you put in is the work it is that you get out of that. So that's as far as getting yourself active to actually practice real estate, to actually go out there and sell things. But there's some other things that kind of fall into the process of starting a real estate career, and we're going to talk about those after this quick commercial break, so stick with us. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Chrismo, and the show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to help you understand the technical side of the real estate industry. And now, going into 2018, we've got a lot of people signing up for courses that want to change their life, change their career, and get their real estate license. And that's what we're talking about today. Not just getting the real estate license, that we covered in probably the first half hour of this episode, and that's all available at licensefl.com. But we're also covering today now is, okay, on top of getting your license, now going to find the broker, which is what we just covered before the last break. And we also had a question that came in from Jessica Elliott. So Jessica's asking, is this going to be recorded to watch later? And the answer is yes, absolutely. It will actually be available on our Facebook page as well as our YouTube channel, depending where it is that you're watching. But the best place to go find this, as well as all of our other tools we have to help you plan for your success, is at tampaschool.com/success. Again, that's tampaschool.com/success, 2 C's, 2 S's. You go on there. This is going to show up right onto the feed as the most recent episode on there, and you'll actually find a lot of other free tools and tips and articles and calculators and all kinds of stuff like that on our Success Center to really help you get ready to make some money in real estate. So you could learn a lot on there, and that's all available for free. So definitely check that out after the show. It's tampaschool.com/success. So we talked about finding a broker. Now let's say that you found the broker. What else it is that you have to do? Well, there's this trade organization that exists in the real estate world. It's the largest trade organization in the world. You might ask, what's a trade organization? It's almost like a union, basically, except for not really. But this trade organization, they go by the term Realtors. And yes, this is actually something completely separate from having a real estate license. Having a real estate license and being a realtor are two completely separate things. Now, they won't let you become a realtor unless you're appropriately licensed in your jurisdiction, but you don't have to necessarily become a realtor, although you probably will want to become a realtor at some point in time. So once you've found a broker, now this isn't something you'd have to do with an owner-developer. If you're working for an owner-developer, there's no need to join the Association of Realtors to get access to the MLS or anything like that, to worry about lock boxes. But if you're working under a broker, this is basically what kind of systematizes and unifies the tools that we have available. And that's what is most applicable to us. So joining the Association of Realtors, and it's pronounced Realtor, so you'll hear them talk about that all the time. They've said that to me so many times, even though I do pronounce it Realtor. Anyways, I digress. That's one of their pet peeves. So with the Association of Realtors, there's a local association, a state association, and a national association. And the National Association of Realtors, again, they're the ones that claim the spot of the #1 largest trade organization in the world. So this Association of Realtors, basically, let's just really talk about the benefits it is that you get from joining the Association of Realtors. The most kind of macro benefit that affects the entire real estate industry is they do a lot of lobbying efforts to make sure that real estate remains fair for not only the consumers but us as realtors, to make sure that we still have a place in society 100 years from now. So they have the Realtor Political Action Committee that does a lot of lobbying efforts, and a lot of attorneys that work for them to make sure that the laws aren't going to negatively affect us as realtors, because again, we're the largest trade organization in the world. So there's a benefit there to make sure you've got some job security. If you're ever worried about something happening to the real estate industry, happening to the need for realtors, we've got the Association of Realtors to make sure that not only is there still a place for us, but that it's fair and competitive, because the industry will change over time. There's always been changes since the beginning of real estate, but they're there to make sure that these changes aren't going to be unfair to us as realtors. So they do a lot of lobbying efforts, and they're always going to be begging you for money to contribute to the Realtor Political Action Committee and all that other stuff, which if you're doing well in real estate, I definitely recommend you make some contributions to them, because they do, like I said, give you that job security. But now, as a new agent, you're probably not caring so much about job security 10 years from now. You're probably more concerned with, okay, I just got my real estate license, I just joined a broker. Now, what's the benefit of joining the Realtor Association for me actually making money today? Now, again, this is something that is optional. Having a real estate license and being of the legal capacity to sell real estate in Florida versus being able to call yourself a realtor are two completely separate things. Again, you do have to have a license to become a realtor, but you don't need to be a realtor to sell real estate in Florida. You just need an active real estate license, and that's all the law requires. The law doesn't require you to join the Association of Realtors. And if you don't want to join the Association of Realtors, usually you could go, I think it's like the first 60 days or something like that without joining them if you're joining a broker that's a member of the Association of Realtors. But if you don't want to join the Association of Realtors, you need to find a broker that isn't a member of the Association of Realtors. There's brokers out there that are not members of the Association of Realtors, and therefore their agents, their sales associates are not required to be members of the Association of Realtors. But if you do join a broker, and ultimately, you'll want to join the Association of Realtors. So let's talk about some of these benefits that you have from joining the Association of Realtors. And the biggest benefit is access to the MLS. The MLS is designed to be really the most comprehensive database available of properties. The most comprehensive as well as the most accurate. That's one of the pet peeves of a lot of real estate agents is a lot of people will come to them and say, hey, I saw this property on Zillow, and they go and look up the property and it's sold 6 months ago, but Zillow hasn't done anything to update that because they just use systems and computers to pull data, and they don't always pull it correctly, and sometimes the computers crash and don't always work. A combination of things that ultimately makes it where there's a lot of misinformation on sites like Zillow or even Realtor.com. Realtor.com actually isn't even owned by the Association of Realtors. It's owned by Move Inc. or something like that. I think it's like the New York Times or somebody, some publishing company that owns the association, the Realtor.com. Not even the Association of Realtors. They used to own it, but they sold it off because they didn't know what they were doing with Realtor.com. Didn't make sense for them. But the MLS, you only have access to that as a real estate licensee or somebody or as a realtor or somebody that's working with a realtor. Your clients, you could extend them a limited access to the MLS through a little portal thing it is that you get there. It really kind of will work as a makeshift website essentially until if you ever do decide to go get your own website. You don't need a website to have a thriving real estate business because the MLS is actually very powerful. It works as a contact manager as well. You load in the names of your buyers and sellers in there, and you're able to generate reports for them. You're able to send them automatic emails when properties hit the market, when there's a price change, and you can define all these parameters, and this does the work for you. So it's absolutely worth every penny to join the Association of Realtors and get access to the MLS because this is something that really makes your job a lot easier and really makes it doable. So the MLS, it wasn't originally designed as a database of properties. The MLS actually dates back to the late 1800s. Yeah, way before we had computers, the late 1800s. And where the MLS first came about, it wasn't, let's get together and list all the properties for sale in a book, because that's what it was before we had the internet. They used to have these great big thick books of all the properties for sale. But the reason why the MLS was created was to instill cooperation between brokers. To foster the cooperation between brokers, because what the brokers found out before the MLS, they would just work independently. They would list a property for sale, and then they had to find somebody to buy the property for sale. They'd put out the sign up front, and they'd sit around and wait until somebody came to them asking for the right to purchase the property, to get a contract. But it made it very difficult because, and there really wasn't the buyer's agents at this point either. You might have somebody representing the buyer, but then the buyer had to shell out the money for this. So what the MLS created was a cooperative system where the agent representing the seller would go to the seller and say, hey, look, I want to charge you this much commission, let's say 6%. They negotiate out a 6% commission, and they keep 3% of that commission for themselves and pay out another 3% to the other agent. Or maybe they keep 4% of themselves and pay out another 2%, or however it is that they negotiated out that it's split up. That's the origins of the MLS system. That's where the MLS system originally was created, was as a cooperative system between brokers. And really before we had systems in the terms of computers, it was originally just kind of agreements between the brokers, then that evolved into these listing books of all the properties available for sale, to now what it is today, this online database. Anywhere you've got some sort of laptop computer, you could log into your MLS portal and see all the properties available for sale, but also on top of that, how much money you'll make for selling one of these properties. If you got a buyer that wants to buy a property, you could see all the details of that property in the MLS, and you scroll down to the bottom, it gives you all the realtor-only info, what the commission is for the buyer's agents, the percentage of money it is that you're going to make, how you contact them for a showing, how it is that you go about a showing, and all that other stuff. And that's the MLS system. But now that brings me to another benefit it is that you get through the Association of Realtors: electronic lock boxes. So electronic lock boxes, these are these fancy little lock boxes that you've seen. Should have brought one in here so I could show you guys live on the air. They're pretty neat because you basically have an app on your phone that connects this little electronic lock box, and it allows you to obtain the key when you're showing the property. Now, you might say, well, how is that different than the little combination ones you get at Home Depot or Lowe's or on Amazon or whatever it may be? The difference is an electronic lockbox is much more secure and much more trackable. With the electronic lockboxes, not only are these things built like a tank, so they're very, that keys, it's really not getting out of there unless you get that mechanism to open through the app. But then on top of that, you're able to see, as the listing agent, every single realtor and what time it is that they went into your lockbox to obtain the key for that listing. And you could even set certain times on that. It's super programmable, and it gives a lot of peace of mind to your clients because they don't want just anyone barging into their home at any hour. And that's where you explain, hey, look, I use electronic lock boxes, and with the electronic lock boxes, not only can we see whoever it is that comes in and when it is that they come in, but we could also shut it off. And even if they've got the app and they're putting it in, there's no way for them to open it because I am the one with the ultimate control as the listing agent over this lockbox, and I can shut it off or no one can get the key out of there if there's certain hours we don't want somebody, or if we want every single showing to be approved by me before that goes in there. So the electronic lockboxes, that's a service through the Association of Realtors that makes it really powerful for access to the property. And there's one other thing I want to mention. There's a lot of benefits it is that you get from the Association of Realtors, from different types of training to events that they hold. They send out a Realtor magazine, a couple different Realtor magazines, a local, a state, and a national version of the Realtor magazine, where they've got all kinds of tips and tools and stuff about the industry to keep you up to date. But one of the benefits that I had immense help from when I first got my real estate license, and this is offered through the Florida Association of Realtors, and that's the legal hotline. And the legal hotline, this is a huge benefit because what you're able to do is you have a number, you call into this number, you have to punch in your Realtor ID, you have to punch in your Realtor ID number to verify that it is you as a Realtor, that you're a member of the Association of Realtors. But you're able to call into this legal hotline, you punch in your number to verify that it's you, and you get patched into an attorney, a Florida bar, in good standing with the bar, an actual live attorney who works for the Association of Realtors. Now, these attorneys do not represent you, so you get yourself into trouble, you'll go have to shell out some money to go pay an attorney. But when you have a question about, let's say, a contract or a particular situation or recommendation, you want a recommendation on what it is that you should do and maybe what are the repercussions on whether you do this or whether you do that, that legal hotline is immensely helpful. I mean, if anyone's ever hired an attorney before, you know that they're not cheap. And if you haven't, let me tell you, attorneys are not cheap. So being able to have basically unlimited access, now they can't answer every question. Again, they don't represent you, but you're able to call into them. You might have to sit on hold a little bit sometimes, but you're able to call into them as part of your benefits for joining the Association of Realtors. So immensely helpful. That saves you money from having to pay legal fees to just ask basic questions about understanding a particular scenario or a particular clause in a contract. So super helpful for when you need something in the moment. Yeah, definitely turn to your broker, but your brokers don't always have all the answers as well. There's so much real estate information that's out there. They might have an idea, but it's good to always call that legal hotline to speak to an attorney, to speak to somebody who specializes in real estate law, who's certified by the Florida Bar to practice law in Florida, to give you an answer on basically what the law says you could do, and then maybe what case law says, and all these different repercussions to advise your client in the best capacity it is that you can. So that's another big benefit of it there. And there's a whole long list of benefits that you get. By joining the local Association of Realtors, you automatically get enrolled in the Florida as well as the National Association of Realtors. So you get benefits of all these different levels. Like that's a Florida benefit. This is a local benefit. That's a local benefit. Kind of a regional benefit for the MLS. There's a lot of benefits from the national level that you get, so a lot of different stuff. But joining the Association of Realtors, like I said, it's not required, but these are the tools that allow you to practice real estate to your fullest capacity. And there's really not anything out there competing for MLS. Yeah, you've got the non-electronic lockboxes you could use for those, but they're not very secure. People kind of get worried about those. And yeah, you could always pay yourself for the legal hotline. But again, there's a lot of benefits for joining the Association of Realtors. So I absolutely recommend it. I'm a member of the Association of Realtors. I've always been a member of the Association of Realtors as long as I've had a real estate license. And I recommend everyone else that's practicing real estate. I mean, it makes it really hard to practice real estate to your full capacity without joining the Association of Realtors. So that's definitely something else that it's not required, but it is something optional, almost required in cases, because it really puts you into a corner if you don't have access to a lot of these real estate tools. So definitely contact the local Association of Realtors. They can give you more information about the benefits that you'll get from joining them, or better yet, just give us a call and we can answer any questions and really help you make this journey of not knowing anything about real estate. Hopefully after today you've got a pretty good idea of some of this information about real estate, but trust me, there's a lot more to learn. There's a lot more we could teach you in our pre-licensing course, the post-licensing courses, the continuing education courses, the broker licensing courses. We offer all the licensing courses it is that you may need in real estate. So if you've got questions about those, questions about the exams, questions about how to get out there making money, give us a call. Our phone number is 813-928-0106. But before you call us, check out our Success Center. tampaschool.com/success. You're going to find the recording of this episode as well as all of our previous episodes of Ask the Instructor, all of our previous episodes of State of Real Estate, and a bunch of articles, calculators, all kinds of tools to help you learn about the real estate industry. And there's a great search function in there. You could search for whatever it is that you're looking for answers to, but also give us a call. We've got a chat box on our website. You can kind of chat in with us. If you don't want to pick up the phone, you could text us. We're here to help you guys. We want to see you successful. We want to see you out there making money and enjoying working in real estate. So like I said, give us a call, check out our website. We want to help you guys out. But that's all I've got for you guys this week on Ask the Instructor. We'll be back on Friday for State of Real Estate. We're going to be talking about New Year's resolutions, goal setting and goal planning, and really setting yourself up to have 2018 be the best year of your life. So make sure you tune in on Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time for State of Real Estate. But other than that, that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. And again, give us a call. You guys have a good day.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Does your current career allow for unlimited income potential? With a career in real estate, the sky is the limit. What you put in is what you get out. Find out more about how you can tap into the unlimited income potential of a career in real estate at tampaschool.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.